Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into some pretty cool battery tech.
Oh, yeah.
So, our listeners really curious about these rechargeable zinc air batteries.
Zibes.
Yeah, Xiaomis, exactly.
Catchy name, right?
Yeah. So we've got a research paper here that we're going to be breaking down. And
It's a good one.
yeah, it's really interesting. And you know what I think is so cool about this is we're talking about batteries that use air,
Air.
like the air we breathe as part of their chemistry.
Isn't that wild? I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. It is. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah, like we're one step closer to just, like, breathing to charge our phones.
Exactly. So tell me, like, why are scientists so excited about these ZABs? Like, what's the big deal?
Well, for starters, they have the potential to be way safer than the lithium-ion batteries we use now.
Yeah.
And they could be a lot cheaper to produce, too.
Oh, that's good.
And which is a big one these days. They have a much smaller environmental footprint.
Okay, so we're talking like longer lasting batteries,
Mhm.
easier on the planet.
Exactly. That's the dream, right?
Yeah, that's a future I can definitely get behind. But I'm guessing there's some challenges too, right? It can't all be that easy.
You're right. There are definitely hurdles. One of the biggest ones is finding the right materials for the battery's air electrode.
Oh, okay, so the air electrode, that's the part that actually interacts with the air, right?
Exactly. It's like the lungs of the battery. It takes in oxygen and uses it to generate energy.
Okay, I like that, the battery's lungs. So what's the problem with the air electrode?
Well, the reactions that happen there, especially the ones involving oxygen, can be kind of slow.
Oh, so it's like a bottleneck.
Yeah, you could think of it that way. It's like
Yeah.
having a traffic jam inside the battery, slowing everything down.
Okay, so we need something to speed those reactions up.
Exactly. We need a catalyst.
A catalyst, got it.
Ah.
Something to get the energy flowing. And what are they using now for that?
Well, traditionally, we've relied on precious metals like platinum. Yeah, but they're expensive and not exactly the most sustainable option.
Yeah, platinum probably doesn't scream eco-friendly.
Right. So scientists are on the hunt for alternatives.
So what are some of the things they're looking at? What are the contenders?
This is where it gets really cool. Get this. They're experimenting with wood.
Hold on, did you say wood? Like from trees?
You heard that right. Wood.
I never would have thought of wood in a battery. I mean, that's just crazy.
It seems counterintuitive, right? But they've found a way to transform it into this highly conductive material that works surprisingly well in ZAPs.
Okay, I gotta know, how do they actually use wood in a battery? That just sounds so bizarre.
So they start by treating and heating the wood at super high temperatures in a very controlled environment.
Okay.
This basically turns the wood into this porous carbon structure. And this structure, get this, can actually conduct electricity.
So they're like turning wood into a wire.
Yeah, kind of. It's like they're creating a superhighway for electrons to travel through.
Wow. Okay. So we've got our wood-based conductor. What's next?
Well, then they take this conductive wood carbon and they combine it with another material called, this is a mouthful, cobalt nickel layered double hydroxides.
Okay. And what is that? I mean, besides a mouthful.
Yeah, it's often shortened to conial DH. These are basically super thin layers of material, almost like microscopic sheets, that are grown directly onto the wood carbon framework.
So they're like building tiny power boosters on top of our electron highway.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And these conial DH nanosheets are really good at facilitating those oxygen reactions we were talking about earlier.
So they're like the traffic directors, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Exactly.
I'm curious, how well does this wood-based electrode actually perform?
Yeah.
Like, how does it compare to the traditional platinum catalysts?
That is the question, right? And the results are really promising.
Okay.
The wood-based electrode has shown excellent performance. Like, it's actually rivaling the efficiency of those expensive platinum catalysts.
Wow, really? So we're talking sustainable and potentially cheaper, and it can keep up with the big dogs.
Pretty much. And that's not all.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. It's also been tested in different types of zappies, and it's shown incredible stability.
So what does that mean? Stable? Like it lasts a long time?
Exactly. It can go through a lot of charge and discharge cycles without degrading, which is huge for making batteries last longer.
That's awesome. Less e-waste, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got high-performing, sustainable, durable. It all sounds too good to be true. What's the secret? How are these two materials, the wood carbon and the conial DH, working together so well?
Well, it all comes down to how they interact at a very, very tiny level. There's this thing called the interface coupling effect.
Interface coupling effect. That sounds pretty technical.
It is a bit, yeah. But basically it means, think of it like Like two puzzle pieces that fit together perfectly and like the way they interact at their edges,
Okay.
it creates something stronger than either piece alone. So in this case, you've got the wood carbon and the conal DH nanosheets, and they create this like unique structure that really boosts the battery's performance.
Okay, so it's not just about having the right materials.
Nope.
It's about how they work together
That's it.
at like this super tiny level.
Yeah, like at the nanoscale.
Wow. And the researchers actually found that this interaction, like between the wood carbon and the conal DH,
Right.
changes the way electrons move within the electrode,
It does, yeah.
making those oxygen reactions even more efficient.
More efficient, yep. It's pretty remarkable.
So it's like the wood carbon is giving the conal DH a little boost,
Yeah, like a little extra push.
making it even better at its job.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
great example of how we can like use nature to solve these really complex problems.
Yeah, that's really cool. And speaking of nature,
Yeah.
I'm curious about the environmental impact here. I mean,
Yeah.
we're always hearing about the downsides of mining for lithium and all that.
Right, right.
So how does wood compare? Like, is it really a greener option?
Well, the paper we're looking at, it emphasizes that wood is a renewable resource,
Okay.
which is great. And unlike those precious metals, it's readily available, doesn't require all that intensive mining.
So potentially less habitat destruction, fewer emissions,
exactly.
lower carbon footprint overall. That sounds pretty good.
It does, yeah. But of course, we have to consider the whole life cycle of the battery.
Right.
Like
right.
from sourcing the wood to manufacturing and eventually recycling.
A whole shebang.
Exactly. But starting with wood is definitely a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's good to see scientists thinking about sustainability from the get-go.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about those performance results, and they sound impressive.
Yeah.
But I remember there were some specific measurements that really stood out to me in the paper. Yeah. Something about half-wave potential and over-potential.
Oh, yeah, those are important.
Yeah, they sounded kind of technical, though. So remind me, what do those terms actually mean?
Okay, so imagine you're pushing a boulder uphill.
Okay, I'm imagining.
The overpotential is basically the extra effort you need to use to get that boulder to the top.
So the lower the overpotential, the easier it is.
Exactly. And in the case of our battery, a lower overpotential means the reactions are happening more easily.
Okay.
And less energy is wasted.
So lower overpotential equals a more efficient battery.
You got it.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the half-wave potential? What's that all about?
Well, the half-wave potential, it basically tells us how effectively a catalyst is helping to reduce oxygen, which is a key step in the battery's operation. So a higher half-wave potential means things are running smoothly.
So it's like a measure of how well the catalyst is doing its job.
Yeah, like a performance rating.
Got it. And what did the researchers find? Like, how did the wood-based electrodes score in these areas?
Well, we found that the wood-based electrodes scored really high in both categories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and its overpotential was actually even lower than that of the platinum-ruthenium oxide catalyst, which is like the gold standard for this type of reaction.
Yeah, the top dog.
Exactly.
Wow, so our wood-based electrode is beating the best.
It's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. But I got to ask,
yeah,
is there anything about using wood that could be a challenge? I'm thinking like consistency, durability, things like that.
That's a really good point because, wood is a natural material.
Right.
There can be some variation
Right.
in its composition and structure.
So not all wood is created equal.
Exactly. But the researchers, they were aware of this.
Okay.
And they carefully controlled the treatment process to make sure the wood-derived carbon was as uniform as possible.
So they're trying to make it as consistent as they can.
Yeah, they don't want any surprises.
Good point.
Yeah.
What about durability? How does it hold up over time?
Well, they ran some pretty rigorous tests. They ran the batteries for hundreds of hours.
Wow.
And the results were really encouraging. It turns out that the wood-derived carbon actually helps to protect the conal DH nanosheets from degrading.
So it's like a little bodyguard.
Yeah, like a shield.
Protecting those delicate catalysts.
That's a great way to put it.
So that means it can withstand a lot of charge and discharge cycles, right?
Yeah, and that's key for making those long-lasting batteries.
Okay, so we've got high performance, sustainability, durability. It's like the holy trinity of batteries.
It is, yeah.
This could be huge. But I'm sure there are other areas of research that are really important for making Zabbies like a real alternative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To the batteries we use now.
One area that's getting a lot of attention is electrolytes.
Electrolytes, okay. Remind me what those are again?
Right, so the electrolyte It's basically the liquid or gel inside the battery
Uh-huh.
that allows ions to flow between the electrodes.
So it's like the circulatory system of the battery,
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
keeping everything moving.
Exactly. And for Zabbies to work efficiently, we need electrolytes that are really conductive, stable over a range of temperatures, compatible with all the other components, including our new wood-based electrode.
It sounds like finding the right electrolyte is pretty crucial.
It's a big piece of the puzzle.
What are some of the challenges they're facing in that area?
Well, one challenge is finding materials that can handle the environment inside a ZIB
Okay.
because, the oxygen from the air can sometimes react with the electrolyte
Right.
and cause it to break down over time.
So it's got to be tough.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. And another challenge is the temperature range,
Oh, yeah.
making sure it works well whether it's really hot or really cold.
Like those times when your phone battery dies in the cold.
Exactly. Nobody wants that.
No, not at all. It sounds like there's a lot of research to do on the electrolyte front.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
But the progress is really exciting.
Okay, good to know. So electrolytes are one thing, but what else? Like, what are some other things they're looking at?
Well, there's another really important aspect we need to consider.
What's that?
Scaling up production. Right now, a lot of this is happening in labs,
Right.
small scale.
Yeah.
But if we want to see ZIBs powering our devices in the real world,
Uh-huh.
we need to figure out how to manufacture them on a massive scale.
Right. So it's not just about proving it works. It's about making it work for everyone.
Exactly. So researchers are exploring different manufacturing techniques,
Okay.
different materials, figuring out how to produce these wood-based electrodes
Uh-huh.
efficiently and affordably.
So making it commercially viable.
That's the goal.
Okay. Well, it's really exciting to think that this research could lead to a more sustainable
Yeah.
and affordable future for batteries.
Yeah.
What are some of the other potential applications for this? I mean, beyond just like phones and laptops.
Well, think about electric vehicles.
Okay.
Storing energy from renewable sources like solar and wind,
Uh-huh.
even providing backup power for homes and businesses.
Wow, that's a lot of possibilities.
It is, yeah. It's a game changer,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. I like it. It sounds like this research is opening doors to a whole new world of possibilities
Absolutely.
for energy storage.
It's a really exciting time.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. I mean, who knew that trees could be the future of batteries?
Right. It really makes you think.
It does. It does. And you know what I'm especially impressed by is just
Yeah.
how well this wood-based electrode performs.
It is impressive.
I mean, we talked about those metrics, the half-wave potential and the over-potential.
Right.
And it sounds like this thing's really holding its own against some of the top dogs out there.
Yeah, it's all thanks to that interface coupling effect we talked about.
Right.
The way those two materials come together,
Yeah.
they create this super efficient structure.
It's like they've built a tiny little power plant at the microscopic level.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you think about it that way.
It is. But, I'm wondering, are there any limitations to using wood this way? Like, are there any potential downsides that they're still trying to figure out?
Well, one area that needs more research is understanding how different types of wood
Okay.
might affect the performance of the electrode.
Right, because not all wood is created equal.
Exactly. So they're looking at things like
Right.
wood species, density, even the age of the tree.
So it's like finding the perfect vintage for our battery wood.
Yeah, I like that. And of course, another challenge is making sure the wood is sourced sustainably.
Right, of course. We don't want to be, chopping down forests for batteries.
Exactly. Got to keep the big picture in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that we're finding these sustainable alternatives.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure the whole process is, environmentally sound.
From start to finish.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it sounds like there's still a lot to learn and explore here.
There is, for sure.
But this research is definitely a big step in the right direction.
I think so, yeah.
I'm really excited to see what the future holds for ZAs and all these, innovative battery technologies.
Me too. It's a really exciting field to be following right now. Lots of innovation happening.
Absolutely. Well, hey, to our listener out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of
Z's.
rechargeable zinc air batteries. Hopefully your brain is buzzing with all this cool new info.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe one day soon,
Yeah,
be using a device powered by a battery made from wood.
that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that, sometimes the most unexpected materials can lead to the most innovative solutions.
I love that. Well, that's it for today. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.